Hey guys, Orlando here. Sorry for the long wait. We're going to be going over chapter 18 through 19 of the Bible, Book of Matthew, and I hope you still continued on your journey. So, chapter 18, Book of Matthew. At the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea. Woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come. But woe to that man by whom the offense cometh. Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off, and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. And if thy eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes, to be cast into hellfire. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you, that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father, which is in heaven. For the Son of Man is to come to save that which was lost. How think ye, if a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray? Doth he not leave the 99, and goeth into the mountains, and seeketh that which is gone astray? And if so be that he findeth, verily I say unto you, he rejoiceth more of that sheep than of 99 which were not astray. Even so, it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven, that one of these little ones should perish. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. If he will not hear thee, then take with thee 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Again I say unto you, that if 2 of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father, which was in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Then came Peter to him, and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times. Jesus said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him which owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife and children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Then the Lord of that servant was moved with compassion, and loosed him, and forgave him the debt. But the same servant went out, and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence. And he laid hands on him, and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me that thou owest. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet, and besought him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison, till he should pay the debt. So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told unto their Lord all that was done. Then his Lord, after he had called him, said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt, because thou desiredst me. Shouldest thou also have compassion of thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee? And his Lord was wroth, and delivered him on to the tormentors, till he should pay all that was due unto him. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, if ye from your hearts forgive not every one his brothers their trespasses. So guys, pause the video, This is a lot to take in because he's basically saying how morality works. And you need to be careful in what you say in life. You also need to be careful on how you portray yourself to others, and you also have to be compassionate. You have to be compassionate, and you have to have patience. You can't have hate in your heart, and even says abundantly clear if you have hate in your heart. If you have love in your heart, then good things will always happen to you. The Lord will always guide you. Your Holy Spirit will be healthy. Humble yourself as a child, he said, and there you will have a place in heaven. However, if you have hate in your heart, because like he said in Bible verse, let's see, the servant therefore, okay, Bible verse 28. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence. And he laid hands on him, and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me that thou owest. Now, you see, I understand the situation when someone owes money. You do owe them in that regard. However, if he's doing everything that he can in his power to pay you that money, then show him some compassion and some pity, and show him some kindness, not pity. I don't know why I said pity, but like compassion. You want to show him compassion. You want to show him patience. You want to show him that you understand him, that you understand his position, that you understand how life works. And it says here that if you do wait for that servant, you will be rewarded. And if you be patient, you will get what you want the most. However, if you're not patient, like, the fellow Lord that, pretty much cast out his servant that was going to pay him, he got handed to the tormentors. All because he had hate in his heart. He didn't love the servant, and he didn't want to show empathy, compassion. And another Bible verse I want to talk about is how shall offend one of those? Okay, so Bible verse number 3. Verily say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whoever there shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So Jesus was making a reference to how children generally are. Kids around age 1 to 10, they are the most innocent people in the entire world. They will humble themselves, and they are, pretty modest creatures, or they are like the earliest stages of us being human. They are the most innocent, and they don't know a lot about the world, and sometimes we have to remind ourselves that we have to also think like a child. Not think like a child in terms of think of the morality of a child. The morality of a child is so clear as day. They know the difference. It's amazing because children know the difference between good and bad. Like right off the bat, they know what it is. That's not something that you should teach them. Well, I mean, it depends how they are. I'm sorry, I'm getting into an area that I shouldn't be getting into. But my point is that they are the most innocent people in the entire world. That they are the future, and that we have to guide that generation so that they will become successful, and that they don't have to deal with the wickedness of this generation, the time that we are living in. So We always have to remember to always be humble and never to overreact to any kind of situation that comes our way, because that's just the flesh coming out of you. Remember, keep your emotions in check. Don't ever try to lash out, because violence never brings answers. It never does, and it will never will. Violence only brings more violence. Violence will only bring more provocation. Violence will only bring fear. And that's not something that we should be a part of. You have this in this world, you have countries making war after one another. And you're kind of like thinking to yourself, why is that? Why in the world do we live in a world where people need to hold power? People need to to make enemies. When in reality, we don't have to make enemies. We could love our enemies, and we can't. And yeah, if they persecute us, but that will be their own judgment to find. All of us should lay down our arms and not give into the hate and not give into the flesh. And we shouldn't try to judge others, to make quick judgment of others. So I really do think chapter 18 really reminds you how you need to humble yourself as a child, and that how you need to think more innocently along the lines of the child, and that you should have the morality of a child. You shouldn't be thinking arrogantly. You shouldn't be thinking angrily. You shouldn't be thinking of so much hate in your heart. Jesus only has one mission, and that's to give love to you, and to show you love, and to show you what it looks like, and not to show you all the hate that's inside, all the hate that's in the world. All right, so chapter 19. And it came to pass, last chapter, guys, and it came to pass that when Jesus had finished these things, he departed from Galilee, and came into the coast of Judea, beyond Jordan. And great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? So true. And said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man put asunder. They say unto him, Why did Moses then command to give a writing of this divorcement, and to put her away? He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, Whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And who marry her which is put away doth commit adultery. His disciples say unto him, If the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. But he said unto them, All men cannot receive the same, save they to whom it is given. For there are some eunuchs, which were so born from their mother's womb, and there are some eunuchs which were the maid of eunuchs of men. And there be eunuchs, which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it. Then were there brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them, and pray. And the disciples rebuked them. But Jesus said, Suffer little children, and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven. And he laid his hands to them, and departed thence. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do, that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. He say unto him, which Jesus said, Thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The young man saith unto him, All these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Jesus said unto him, If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Then said Jesus unto his disciples, Verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazing, saying, Who then can be saved? But Jesus beheld them, and said unto him, With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all, and follow thee. What shall we have therefore? And Jesus said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And every one that has forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or land, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So, a lot of things in chapter 19. Pause the video, guys. So, first in the beginning. Now, the Pharisees back then, they knew what they were doing. They wanted to challenge Jesus. They wanted to challenge, the teachings of the Bible of the Old Testament. They wanted to seek his destruction. So, they were asking how marriage is supposed to be. They were asking about, is it okay to put away your wife? Is it okay to divorce your wife? Is it considered holy to divorce your wife? So, he's saying that he said that in the beginning of time, when Adam and Eve were created, they were already married in the eyes of God because, they were having sex, they were reproducing, they were already of one flesh. And not only that, the reason that Moses created a divorcement wasn't because so that, he wanted to create a scapegoat out of marriage and commitment. No. He did not. He created that just in case for someone who has cheated on someone else. Someone who has committed adultery during marriage. So it only makes sense to create divorcement for that specific reason. If you guys if married couples are married in the eyes of God, and one of you inside that couple decides to cheat on one another, however, that other one decides to remain holy to you and decides not to cheat, then you can divorce the that's the only case scenario where it's okay for you to divorce that man or that woman, depending on the situation. I don't know. But the thing about divorcement is that we can't be taking it for granted. We can't be jumping the gun to marriage. And then there's this thing called marrying in government, which, I find a little bit weird, but, it's there. If you're married by the government, you're not married in the eyes of God, okay? Like, to be married in the eyes of God, you need to have, like, a ceremony. or something that that you're gonna be bound by God's words forever, by God's faith. And there's a lot to marriage. There's so much to marriage. It says here that, shall marry another committeth adultery, and who marry her, which is put away, thou committed adultery. So, saying even though that whoever marry her, which is put away, thou committed adultery. So, a lot of people, because you do have these extreme cases where the two married couples have like an exclusive relationship. So in any way, in that case, to those of you who are in those extreme cases, you should ask yourself the only question: what is the point of being married if only two of you, if the two of you in that extreme case is, cheating on one another? That's the only time that it's okay for any married couple to get divorced. Is that if you commit adultery. And then towards the end, okay, so this man, he had many possessions, and he wanted to seek everlasting life, or immortality, or whatever you want to call it. He had many possessions, many great possessions, and Jesus said something very simple: if you want to go to the kingdom of heaven, sell all your possessions. Sell all of it, because that does not matter. What matters is that you yourself. What matters is that you or yourself does not contain the sin of greed. Is not attached to the things of this world. Because remember, our world is not here. Our world is in heaven. World is literally just a test. The earth is literally just a test for man to see if he's holy enough, or he keeps the biblical values to go into heaven of the Bible. But the man of this story failed. He failed because he had great possessions. He did not want to let go of the things he had. He did not want to let go of the riches and the wealth and the material things of the world. He was too attached to it. And that's idolatry. That's a very great way to explain idolatry. When you idealize something in your life, that is idolatry. When you put something first, then God, that is idolatry. Because in reality, God should always be first. God should always have priority no matter what you do in life. You should always be reading the Bible to Him. You should always be praying to Him. You should always be worshiping Him every single day. And He should take the priority, and then all the stuff afterwards. And the man, I'm not sure what happens to the man with riches, but he has a long way to go. Because Jesus said that about the camel quote. Here it is. And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. He's just making a very extreme comparison. An animal that has no intelligence whatsoever to speak or have free will can go to the kingdom of heaven rather than a rich man. Because a rich man holds way too many things that are dear of this world, and doesn't hold that many things that are dear to heaven, that are dear to God, the biblical values. that he set before us, the laws, the commandments that he put in place in the Old Testament, and we don't. And when he sees that we don't respect that, he's just gonna do this. He's just gonna treat you. He's just gonna treat you as you treated yourself in life. So don't ever be attached to this world. Don't try to. Just don't be materialistic. Remember, there's going to come a time where all of this is just going to disappear. All of this, computers, telephones, printers, all of this is going to be gone. And you got to understand that jobs, careers, lawyers, doctors, money, they're all not going to exist in heaven. So set yourself apart from those materialistic things. Believe in God, believe in His Word, and believe the biblical values that He put in place since the beginning of time. So that we can make our bodies holy for Him when the marriage of the Lamb comes. When the revelations come into fruition, be prepared and be mentally prepared. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening to my Bible reading and teaching. I hope all of you are good on the Sabbath day. If you are celebrating Sabbath, congratulations. This is a good time to fast for God, or not do anything, or just do things for God. This is a great time just to do absolutely nothing, or just sleep, relax, whatever type of things you would like to do for God. Do them now. It's a great time. Spread the word of the gospel. I love all of you, and I hope you have a very blessed day.